Hello and welcome to another video where I don't know what intro I'm gonna do. Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Mark Daniel. So I am who am I? Who am I? 3, 2, 1. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening whenever you're gonna be watching this video. My name is Mark Daniel and I'm here with another video, and today we're gonna be tackling some confessions of a worship leader. So I thought of coming up with this video content to help some of you guys, those who are serving in ministry and those who might be considering to join the worship ministry or music ministry in their church, as to get some tips and I don't know, some reminders or pointers as to the things that you should be watching out for, the things that you should be thinking about in your growth as a minister, as a worship leader. So I thought of coming up with a list of confessions, and I say this as confessions because I want to come from a place of experience. So these are some of the things that we as worship leaders miss out or take for granted that are actually crucial in ministry or in the roles that we take on. And the very first confession that I'll be starting off with is that I personally confess that I don't memorize lyrics. Yes, I am sorry. Most of my friends, my really close friends, would know this about me, that I struggle a lot when it comes to memorizing lyrics or actually memorizing anything. No, the very learning point, or I'm gonna cut to the chase and go to the very action point for this challenge, is the only thing that we can do or should do is one word: memorize. There's nothing to it, no other thing. And I want to talk about why it's important that we memorize lyrics. Well, my question is it even important? How about for you guys who are watching? Do you think it's important that worship leaders or those leading in worship or serving in worship, especially the vocalists, the singers, know their lyrics? And I have two things to highlight for you why this is very important. The very first thing is that we want to avoid being a distraction to the congregation that we are leading. So the point of leading worship, or one of the roles that we have, is to guide the congregation, to help them in being able to worship or being able to step into that presence. And the last thing that we want to do is become a distraction or lead them away from their focus. And one of the things, based on experience, that I have sadly done by mistake, or I don't know, is not memorizing lyrics. So what that does is either I forget a lyric line or I say something else. So either way, it's really an embarrassment. One, it's an embarrassment. Two, it's a distraction. Three, I don't know. It's at the most, or at the least, it's something me and my friends laugh about. I'd wanna, well, like one example. I don't want to give any more examples. Maybe in another session, of like a deeper confession of the things that I've made a mistake on. But that's the first one. Second important thing why we must memorize is that when we memorize lyrics and flow, we can focus on the worship easier and on leading more effectively. So imagine if you're a worship leader, whenever you stand on Sunday on stage, there are multiple of things going through a person's mind. You're thinking about the lyrics, you're thinking about the music, you're thinking about the melody. Then there's also those distractions of am I gonna do an ad-lib or not, and whatsoever. And there's also the aspect of leading the congregation and the flow and all that. So there are multiple things happening in your mind. And as simple as taking care or preparing ahead memorizing lyrics, familiarizing yourself with the flow, that subtracts that takes away one of the things you think about, or like, uh, gets your mind grinding while you're on stage. If you've memorized the lyrics, you can focus more on the bigger role of the worship leader, which is to lead the people, lead the congregation. So I remember there are times when I struggle in memorizing. I come up on stage, and what's on my mind is really more of what's the next line, what's the next word, am I saying the right lyrics. And or another case that may happen is you see worship leaders or singers at church where their eyes are stuck glued to the lyrics, the prompters. If your church has that, a lyric prompter, a teleprompter, they're looking and ministering to the teleprompters rather than looking at the people, leading the people. So one thing to avoid, how to avoid that: memorize, familiarize yourself with the flow, memorize your lyrics. That way, also another bonus is that when you encounter technical difficulties, let's say, we'll never know what may happen, the lyrics suddenly turns off, all the monitors in the church turns off, and it's up to you, unfortunately, or rather it's actually our responsibility. So it's up to you to know the lyrics and know where the worship is going next to. One of the concepts that I learned in worship leading is that, as a worship leader, that is one of our goals, our roles rather, is that we're taking the congregation from one place to another, from coming from a day that wasn't good, they arrive at church, and the worship, part of the worship's intention or purpose is bringing them from that state of mind and state of heart, and leading them on to the presence of God, to that destination. And as simple as not knowing the lyrics, you might, I don't know, send them off somewhere or make them even more confused. So that's it. Memorize. Yeah. Our calling as a worship leader is through worship, praise and worship, is to help and guide people to that saving knowledge and fear of the Lord. That is why we do worship. That's why we worship lead. And in that course, you wouldn't want to have any other agendas or any other hindrance or distraction. So that's why point number 1 is prepare well, memorize. Alright, how about for you? What are the things that you as worship leaders, when I talk about worship leaders, these are not just the singers or those who lead worship, but what are your confessions? What are the things that you often miss out that is very important? Let's talk about that. And we're gonna be talking about it next session. So again, my name is Mark Daniel. Just to share with you, I am a worship leader at our church. I also write songs and spoken word poetry, and also make videos like this because I've had a heart of wanting to pass on the things that I've learned and experienced to coach people and mentor, especially in the aspect of ministry and worship ministry. So if you like this video, if you have any comments and maybe any additional confessions as for our next content, please do share them so that we can help each other and help others grow for the Lord. That's it. See you on the next video. Bye.